Hey everyone, welcome back to Die Hard American Metal. Today, we're diving deep into something that's changing the game for American manufacturing: artificial intelligence. Now, forget about sci-fi movies. We're talking about real, practical AI that's hitting the shop floor right now and completely revolutionizing how we make things in this country. Let's get right into it.
For the longest time, this is exactly how it was. Making things out of metal wasn't something you just learned in a book. It was truly an art form. Your success, your shop's success, it all came down to the gut feelings and the years of wisdom from the masters on the floor. It was knowledge you earned, not something you were taught. For decades, the sound of the factory, that rhythmic clang, has been the heartbeat of American industry. But if you listen closely, there is a new rhythm, or maybe a lack of one. A silent force is at work, and trust me, it is changing absolutely everything.
So, to really understand just how big of a deal this is, we've got to take a quick look back. We need to see how things used to be done, to understand the challenges that made this whole revolution not just possible, but honestly, inevitable. This so-called black art, this tribal knowledge, it was priceless for sure, but it was also a huge risk. The whole process was slow. It could be inconsistent. And the scariest part, when one of those experts retired, all that knowledge, all those secrets, they just walked right out the door. That put a hard cap on how much a shop could grow and how reliable it could be. All right, let's step off the shop floor for a minute and head into the front office. Because this is where the first and maybe the biggest bottleneck has always been, getting quotes out the door. And it's one of the first places AI is making a massive difference. Now, just stop and think about that number for a second. 5% of annual revenue. That's not a rounding error. For a medium-sized company, that could be millions of dollars a year, just gone, leaking right out of the business, all because of a slow, inefficient quoting process. It's brutal. And this is why it's a revolution. I mean, look at this. It's night and day. On one side, you've got the old way, taking days, based on guesswork, and you can only do so many. On the other side, you have AI quoting. We're talking minutes, pinpoint accuracy, and the ability to handle as many RFQs as you can throw at it. It turns a weakness into a serious weapon. So how does it actually work? Well, it's almost ridiculously simple. An engineer gets a request for quote, and they just forward the email. That's it. The AI takes over, pops open the CAD files, pulls out all the critical info, and builds a draft quote using your shop's specific costs. The engineer gives it a quick look, clicks approve, and boom, it's out the door. And here's the kicker. We're talking about an 80% drop in the time it takes to do a quote. But listen, this isn't about getting rid of engineers, it's about unleashing them. It frees them up from all that paperwork so they can focus on what they're great at, solving tough problems and making cool stuff. Okay, so from the front office, let's head back to the heart of the operation, the engineering department, because now we're going to see how AI is acting like a design partner, helping create the perfect die from the get-go. Now get this statistic is it's staggering. 70 to 80% of your entire shop's productivity is basically decided before a single machine is turned on. It all comes down to the design. Getting that initial design right isn't just important, it is everything. And this is where AI is a complete game changer. So how do you actually bottle that tribal knowledge and put it into a computer? Well, it's not just one thing. Think of it like a team. You've got neural networks that act like the brain, figuring out all the complicated cause and effect. Then fuzzy logic comes in to handle the messy, real-world stuff, like when a batch of steel isn't perfectly uniform. And finally, rule-based systems act like a digital encyclopedia, storing all those hard-won rules of thumb from the masters. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's what keeps every shop manager up at night. How do you stop the endless cycle of trial and error? How do you know for sure that a design is going to work before you spend all that time and money on a physical tryout? Well, here's your answer, a digital tryout. It's like a crystal ball for metal forming. Instead of taking hours and hours to run a complex simulation, AI can give you a really good idea of the results in just a few minutes. This means engineers can test a dozen different ideas virtually, catching things like splits or wrinkles before they ever become a costly real-world headache. Okay, so the quote is lightning fast. The design is nearly perfect. Now, let's go back to the shop floor itself, where the real magic happens. We're about to see how all this intelligence turns our machines into self-aware, self-diagnosing powerhouses. This is the essence of predictive maintenance, and it's brilliant. First, you've got sensors all over the machines, collecting data on everything.
Then the AI watches and learns what normal looks like for that specific machine. Once it knows what's normal, it can spot the tiniest little change that signals a problem is coming. And the best part? It tells you, hey, this part is going to fail in about 2 weeks, so you can schedule maintenance before it breaks down and shuts down the whole line. And the payoff? Oh, the payoff is huge. Just look at these numbers. Maintenance costs drop by a quarter. Your expensive equipment lasts 25% longer. And the big one? Unplanned downtime plummets by 75%. That is the difference between constantly putting out fires and running a smooth, predictable operation.
And what about quality? Well, think of AI vision systems as the ultimate inspector. It's an unblinking eye on the production line. It inspects every single part. It catches tiny defects that even the most experienced human eye might miss, ensuring that no bad parts ever make it out the door. It's perfect quality control 24/7.
So, we've seen AI speed up quoting, perfect the design process, and make the shop floor smarter. So what's the big picture? What does this all add up to for the future of American manufacturing? Let's tie it all together. You know, Stephanie Lowry, the CEO of Dayton Rogers, an American manufacturer, she just nails it with this quote. This isn't some far-off dream. This is happening right now. The shops that get ready today are the ones that are going to be leading the pack tomorrow. It's that simple.
So when you boil it all down, here's what you really need to take away. First, and this is the big one, AI is not here to replace our skilled workers. It's here to empower them, to take the tedious junk off their plate. Second, it takes that priceless tribal knowledge and makes it a permanent, scalable asset for the company. Adopting this stuff is absolutely critical if we want to stay competitive. It's how we move from being reactive to being predictive.
So when you look at how AI can reshape literally every single part of this industry, from the first phone call to the final inspection, you have to ask the question, is this the tool? Is AI the hammer that will let us forge a stronger, smarter, and more competitive future for American manufacturing? Something to think about.